Hey everybody, this is Hardister, the bad boy of comedy, and welcome to FND, Funny's Not Dead.
Welcome everybody to Funny's Not Dead, Surviving COVID. I'm here with one of our celebrity comics, Hardister. I'm pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Right, Hank. Man, I met you, God, it's been a couple years now, in Sebastopol at Hot Monk.
Yep.
You know, one of the open mics there. John Lear hosts every third
Thursday.
Sunday, or third Sunday, excuse me, of each month there at the Hot Monk in Sebastopol. And man, I was so hungry to know and learn about this craft. You know, I've always had a funny sense of humor, and all my old friends said, "Man, you eventually need to do stand-up comedy." So I just immediately, was drawn to you. I saw you perform. So this show is about helping those who want to get into the industry, either in acting, comedy, even in modeling.
Yeah.
It's more for the 2Us, the unseen and underdogs.
Yeah.
You know, so I want to talk about where the vision first started with you. Was it early in life, later in life, to do stand-up comedy?
It was, basically we started off, I was always in high school, like class clown, how I think all of us kind of are. You know, instead of listening and doing what we're supposed to be doing, we're popping off and making a joke, to get the class to laugh instead of actually, passing our grades. So once I dropped out of high school, then I realized I had to do something, and just years of, we'd go out with our friends and have a good time. There'll be a whole bunch of people camping or whatever. And I did just gravitate towards getting everyone laughing or telling a story. And one of my close friends, I had always said, I want to do stand-up comedy someday. And like we all do. And then one of my friends who's a very successful actor, he is probably the most third person in every film you've ever seen. Like, he's the guy who's the sheriff's assistant in every movie you've ever seen. And him and his wife go, we're signing you up and we're taking you down there and you're going to do it. And it was within 30 minutes. I had no choice to back out. And I said, okay. And I drove from Napa to Vacaville, which was 30 minutes, and was jotting down ideas as I was driving, don't do that, kids. And then literally just stuff off the top of my head. Got there, signed up for the open mic as scared as everyone who ever does it. I was nervous, didn't know anybody, and the guy who started me off was super nice, and nobody else showed up and signed up for that day. And so he was like, well, we got a lot of people here, and you're the only comedian. And luckily, right before the show started, a bunch of people came in, comedians rolling, right? We're not the most punctual or reliable or most things. And it just happened that they all made me go first. They were like, first, you're the new guy, you're going first, right? And so you take the bullet, which was the first. And I didn't know at the time that 10 minutes was a long set, when you're first starting. And I was like, he goes, oh, can you do 10 minutes? I was like, I have no idea what I could do, right? And so he goes, you're going to do 10 minutes up front of everybody. And I said, okay, fine. Not even knowing what I was agreeing to. So I go up on stage, and I still have video of it, of that night. And I went up there, and stars aligned or whatever happened. And I mean, I went right into a tirade of holding my cocktail, and just, that crowd was insane. Laughing, having a great time, rolling. And after I was all done, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And the guy came down, B.A. Hunter, afterwards, and he goes, that was your first time you've ever done this? I said, I've never been on stage before. And he goes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Nice. And he was one of those people, which is what we and you and so many other people should be doing in comedy and all these things, is he took me in and he said, here's the shows you need to go to, here's the places you need to go, here's the people you're going to talk to. Within 6 months, I was doing shows for, featuring for people and famous people. It was awesome. So,
nice.
Pretty quick.
So give me some highlights. Who have you worked with like that was memorable, and some places and your first paid gig?
Oh, man. So I've had very fortunate. Within 6 months, I was doing advertisements for, I had to go on a radio show. This theater that I booked, I decided I'm going to do my own shows. And I was like, hey, look, I got this idea. I just wanted to do it, you know? Like, you're doing this with your show. You have a vision. I said, okay, we're going to do it. And so the theater guy who owns it, he's the DJ for 1440 KUN in Napa. And so, Barry Martin. And he said, he goes, hey, I need you to come in and do some promo spots and radio interviews and whatnot. So I said, okay, I've never been on radio either. So I go on there, did a radio interview, and then did the morning, did the drive time, and then did the nighttime person. And after I was all done for the whole day, the owners of the radio station came in. They go, have you ever done radio before? And I go, man, I hate the sound of my voice when I hear it. And they go, you have the perfect voice for radio, which I thought they meant the perfect face for radio, you know? And so they said, hey, put an idea together for an hour-long show and do whatever you want. And that was the birth of the Hank Hardister Show. And we grew that into, we were number one in comedy podcast for a long time on iTunes. We're still on iTunes now. Had that for 2.5 years. Interviewed porn stars, famous actors, comedians. And it was a blast. I mean, really launched me to that next level. And through that, I got to work with Kevin Farley, who's Chris Farley's brother. We all know Chris Farley from Black Sheep and all that stuff. Right. And Kevin is 5 brothers, and they all look identical, and they all sound identical. And so I got to feature for Kevin at the Tommy T's in Sacramento for a whole weekend. So it was 5 shows. And that was a great, launching kind of thing. And one of the greatest things about it was we all have our jokes that we think are great. You go to a crowd, you perform, people go, that's a good joke. But that guy has been in comedy forever. And he's backstage as I'm doing my final ender one, the Muppet joke. I don't know if you've heard that one before. Yeah. So I'm doing the final joke, and you can hear Kevin backstage losing his shit. Like, he's laughing so hard, and I'm trying not to lose my thought process, and he's just crying backstage laughing. And I get all done, and as I walk back and the host comes up to me, he comes and he goes, that was the funniest shit I've ever seen. And I was like, now that's cool, you know. But the height of it was right before COVID. The person that I wanted to start comedy and work with was Adam Carolla. And right before COVID, I talked with him, worked with his show a lot, and they booked me to open up for him at the Uptown Theater in Napa, which is my hometown. And so we had 750 people at the Uptown Theater in my hometown, and I got to feature and do 20 minutes in front of Adam Carolla, and that was as good as it gets, you know. So, and then COVID hit, and then everything turned to shit.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about that. COVID. How did you keep your craft alive? How did you keep things going?
Porn and OnlyFans, mostly OnlyFans. It's surprising what people want to see you do with a microphone. But that was a highlight. But no, it was mostly nothing. I mean, really, the clubs were dead. I went back and forth to LA. There wasn't a lot we could do. So we were trying to produce more content online. And then right before COVID hit, I was meeting with people to do a 4 episode show for Netflix. And COVID hit, everything stopped. And it kind of took a lot of the wind out of my sails. I was just like, man, is this what I want to do? I got my son, one of my sons here. I got 2 boys. I got bills. Can I keep doing this? And sure enough, right as COVID, about a year in, people started contacting me and said, hey, are you going to still do that show? Are you going to still do that show? And I didn't. Worked out. A guy who had the theater, he goes, let's move it. And within a week, things fell into, we had someone filming it, we had sound, we had the crew, we had everyone together, and sold half a theater and filmed the 4 pilot episodes. And then it just I said, well, maybe this is what we're going to do. And so for the last 1.5 years, we've been doing more TV, doing more shows and trying to get more stuff done on the TV side. Nice. And then stand-up is just, I try and make it out as much as I can to all the shows that book me, and then work on the material and try and make sure that I still am telling some funny jokes. That's about it.
So, new comics, they want to get into this. What are the suggestions? What do they need to do, and how do they keep grinding? Talk about that a little bit.
That's easy. It's easier than it is to do. Really, but if you ever want to get into comedy and it's something that you're really passionate about, it's got to be something that you're really passionate about. You go,
getting what you're asking for, you're just not aware of how general you're asking. Clarity is power. The more clear you are about exactly what it is you want, the more your brain knows how to get there. Your brain is a servo mechanism. It's like a bomb. Those bombs, those missiles, they have a servo mechanism. So if the target moves, it knows what the target is, it follows it. Your brain, when you condition it, knows exactly what to go for and it'll find a way to get there. Did you ever buy a certain outfit or a certain car and suddenly see that car outfit everywhere? How many of you have had that experience? Say, aye. How come that car outfit's everywhere? It always was everywhere, but now you notice it. And the reason is because there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS. That part of your brain determines what you notice and what you don't notice. Your brain spends most of its time trying to make sure you don't notice because you'll go crazy if you notice everything. But when you decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. Everyone I know who's successful builds what I call an RPM plan. An RPM is built on the metaphor that the way to get from where you are to where do you want to go to the fastest is you got to build power, like in a car, RPMs. And the R stands for they know the result they're after. They know what they want precisely. If you don't know exactly what you want or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? If you can't answer that question right now in your personal life, in your body, in your relationships, in your finances, in your spirituality, then you're not going to be as fulfilled as you want to be. Today we're going to have you answer one of those questions at least. The second part of it, you got to know P, why you're doing it. Because you know what? You may get a big goal. Somebody says, I want to make $1 billion. I want to bring peace to the earth. Why? Because as soon as you come up with a goal, all the obstacles show up. And unless you've got enough emotional drive to break through that, you're never going to discover what it really takes. So you got to get yourself past that. And the way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. This man did not know what he wanted. He did not have enough reasons. To ask intelligently, you got to ask specifically. To ask intelligently, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. And the M is, what is your massive action plan? What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans that if the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work. So asking intelligently requires that. So if we're going to be extraordinary in our results, we've got to be in an extraordinary state. We've got to know what we want and we've got to go use it.
I want to do this because you end up driving everywhere all the time. I had a video, I used to do these compilations of all the video I put together and the miles that I drove when I first started in that first year, before I started getting booked on feature shows where I could choose and I was turning away jobs. That first year will tell you if you're any good. Okay. If you don't get booked on a show and people like Casey or people that you're performing for don't book you, you're either not telling the jokes right or you're not, the personality's not right, whatever else. And so you have to go and keep trying until the people in crowds are laughing. And that'll tell you anything. It's not like, there's a lot of things that are subject and people can have ideas and opinions. If you're on a stage and you're telling your jokes and no one's laughing, a lot of people go, oh, it's a tough crowd. No, it's not. It's you.
Gotcha.
And so but the key is grinding it out. Keep going. Listen to people. I get some of the great feedback I get from someone is one of the, Juan Carlos. We both know him, great comedian here in the Bay Area. He told me something that changed how I performed, which was people don't know you. So I'm a big guy, the way I look, when I walk on stage, people have assumptions of you. We were each wearing a uniform or a costume, right? So they look at you and they go, I'm already making these judgments. It's just as if we're walking down the street. Same thing happens when we get on the stage. They're assuming you're funny because you're there. But that only gets you about a minute. And then if you're not funny, nothing's going to happen. But if you're telling jokes that don't match with what you look like, it's not going to go anywhere. If I start telling these people, and I look in the crowd, I go, oh, I got some older people, some younger people, and I start telling some dirty, filthy jokes, well, they're going, oh, this is, not for me, or whatever else. You have to know the audience that you're performing from, and you have to know yourself. Because if you get on there and you start saying, oh, I'm on these dating sites, and I can't meet anyone, and I can't do anything, and you're a good-looking guy, people go, oh, that doesn't sound right, So that's pretty much the best thing I heard, from Juan.
Nice. All right, so now you're producing shows, you've been producing shows, now you're Napa producing shows. Tell us where you're at and what's going on there.
Okay, so in Napa, basically, we do theater shows at the Lucky Penny Theater. If we're, we got a good arrangement, work with those people. Barry's great for creating shows, works with me on all kinds of stuff. I was very fortunate to meet Jeff Traeger, who's actually the guy who found, how many of you guys know the band Journey? Everyone knows Journey, all right?
I think we've heard of them.
Yeah,
They've done a couple
so
songs.
Steve Perry, the lead singer of Journey, Jeff Trender found him bagging groceries in a grocery store and introduced him to the rest of the band.
Nice.
And so he produces shows, music acts all over the Bay Area, Mare Island, at the theaters everywhere. And he's been doing, he's like, I always call him, he's our little Jewish Billy Graham. Like he's amazing. And he can put a show together. And he reached out to me, we had a great relationship, we still do. And we do shows at the Downtown Theater in Fairfield. But right now we're working with Cable Access in Napa to film. They're giving us a studio, cameras, and all the equipment to start filming these new TV shows. And so we're going to be doing, in August, we'll be shooting 4 more pilot episodes of my show, Swiped, to be taking that to Netflix. And then we have a new show that I'm going to be releasing with Edsel Mack called, well, I can't even say what the name is yet, but we got that one coming out. And then we have a skit show, which is my radio show turned into just skits, which is like if you ever Key and Peele or the Chappelle Show. It's going to be about 15 minutes of us sitting down talking just like the radio show was and everything else, and then we go into all the skits.
Nice. Well, man, we got some similar things going on because we have a bunch of actors and comics and models that are doing comedic skits throughout the Bay Area as well, and we're going to be filming a lot of Bay Area bands. There's some diamonds in the rough. I tell you, you got to hear some of these bands that are coming forth to be on the show. I want to thank you so much for your time coming out and do this.
Thank you.
And folks that are here, you get to be honored to have him play for you guys tonight. He's going to do a set, and we'll put a little bit of that on this episode as well.
Awesome.
Any comments, questions, or rebuttals for me, man?
Hey, man, congratulations, and I hope this is going to work out great.
Oh, it's going to work out.
I love seeing everything going. So,
all right, man.
Just if anyone's out there doing comedy, you got to keep grinding.
Keep grinding.
Cheers.
All right.
He's performed all over the place and worked with some of the funny, like you worked with Felipe Esparza, Adam Carolla, and you're gonna love him. And I'm gonna bring him up here right now. So please welcome my friend and soon to be yours, Mr. Hank Hardister, everybody. Oh, he started back there. Oh, look at this.
Quarantine was kind of rough. We had to get through that, right? I don't know if you guys are like me, you learned a lot about yourself during quarantine. I learned I was a fucking liar. I always told myself, if I just had enough time, I would write a novel, do something constructive, and better with my life. No, actually fucking, you give me all the time in the world, I'm gonna masturbate incessantly and watch Tiger King. And that's about all that fucking happened with quarantine, right? Fucking lying to myself.
I'm here to call you out, you meditating witch.
I see you come not one, but many slime demons.
Well, I get by with a little help from my friends.
Now listen here, fellas. We don't want no trouble, so just move on through. Now look here, young man. I'm the sheriff of this here county.
Oh, hold up, rewind that. Go back. Let me see that one more time.
Now look here, young man. I'm the sheriff of this here county.
Oh, that had to hurt his scroll. I know he's embarrassed.
Make him meet his spirit guide.
Woo, he shouldn't have done that. He done messed around and got Guru Merkaba mad, baby. Come on, Guru.
Question, where do you think you're... Wait, hold up, Guru. Capital my ass. You ain't so bad now, are you?
Looks like you made him meet his spirit guides. Yeah.